Hi, welcome to My Favorite Mistake. I'm your host, Mark Graven. Our guest today is Amber Gaige. She is a marketing strategist and international best-selling author and the founder of Far Beyond Marketing. So she has over 20 years of experience. Amber helps entrepreneurs simplify their marketing and achieve real, measurable results. Before I tell you a little bit more about Amber, let me say welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Mark. How are you today?
I am doing well. I'm excited to hear your favorite mistake story, and there's a lot to talk about here today, including, let me tell the audience that Amber is the author of the book, The Far Beyond Marketing Guidebook, Stop Being Duped by Bad Marketing. So we'll figure out, are there marketing mistakes or failures or just bad things that people do. Amber is also the creator of what she calls the 4 C's of effective marketing framework and e-course. She is a third generation entrepreneur. And when she's not working, she's hunting with her husband, homeschooling her 8-year-old son, or walking with her Rottweiler. So sounds like you have a lot going on. Thanks for making time for us.
It's a privilege to be here. Thanks so much, Mark.
So Amber, as we always do here, first question, first topic here, looking back at your career, what's your favorite mistake?
I think my favorite mistake is going into family business. I was in family business for the first half of my career, actually. Some of it was choice, some of it was just by birth. And there's a lot of different sides that you'll hear from people when they talk about working in a family business versus not. But for me, I think that some of the best lessons learned were from the 10 plus years I spent in working with parents, siblings, cousins, uncles, second cousins, and even my spouse for a period of time. But it was certainly in many ways a mistake, because there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of tenacity, there's a lot of frustration that comes in working in family business. But it shapes your character for sure.
Yeah. So this is not just, so when you say not just third generation going up through parents, it sounds like a very a broad family business.
It was. Yeah. Yeah. We had a little bit of everybody at one point in time. Yeah.
So can you give us context? What was or what is that business? Hopefully it's still around.
Yeah, they have several. So my stepfather is a master plumber in the state of Texas. And so the family businesses were a plumbing construction company, a plumbing service company, an HVAC company, an electrical company, and for a while a pest control and even a roofing company. So at one point in time, there were 11 offices with over 200 employees in the state of Texas.
Oh, wow. So can you share a little bit more about the decision that you made? You said it was partly by choice, maybe partly pressure or expectation from your parents to join the business. I mean, was this a decision point after finishing college? I'd like to hear more about that.
Yeah, it was. So, I think we all come out of college with this idea that we know what we're going to do and we know where we're going to be, right? And then reality hits and we find that we need a paycheck fast. And I got a phone call giving me the very worst job in the entire organization. It was the manager of our call center at the time. And my mother even said to me, "I'm throwing you to the wolves, quote unquote. This is a terrible job. But I think you're tough enough to handle it. And my manager just quit. So get up here next week." And it was like, oh, okay, message received. So it was just that pivotal moment where you had to decide to come back and make a living for yourself.
So did it feel like a mistake getting into that particular role? Then I mean, it sounds like it's not like they said, "Amber, okay, it's our dream for you to enter the business. Lay out the path that you would like." They threw you.
No. No, it definitely was not that by any means. No, I think the mistake was probably staying in business, staying in family business too long. You
Mm-hmm.
learn a lot in family business. And in fact, my father would tell me, if you're tough enough to work for me, you're tough enough to work for anyone. And
Yeah.
that was for sure. That was true. But I think sometimes people use family business as a crutch to substitute their own dreams, their voice, their courage to strike out on their own. And that was certainly the case for me. It was a blessing. You know, mistakes are always a blessing, but so are the lessons that we learn from them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the mistakes are a blessing if we find the lesson, if we find
Yes.
something to do differently. Um, did you? I mean, since you're focused on marketing now and have been for a while, did you have an opportunity to do that kind of work within the family business, or did you have to leave to get that
I
kind of
did.
opportunity?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was another situation where it was thrown on me. It was like, hey, I'm not doing this anymore, and now you get to do it. So have fun. So
yeah.
deep into the pool, sink or swim kind of environment for sure. So I had to learn how to work with vendor partners. I had to learn how to make a marketing budget. I had to learn how to track return on investment. I had to learn how to establish calls to action, how to manage direct mail campaigns, the yellow pages. I'm dating myself here, Mark. The yellow pages were a thing.
Yeah,
So yeah, definitely that was where I cut my teeth in learning how to do marketing for entrepreneurial businesses back in the
yeah,
day.
yeah. And so, having not worked in a family business, I'm trying to think of, like, everyone's parents are different, and if it was a tough environment, I mean, do you get held to a tougher standard as
Oh,
the
for sure.
child of the owner or owners?
For
Mother and
sure.
father were in an active leadership roles, both of them,
Yep.
or yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. I think there is a propensity to make sure that there is no level of favoritism whatsoever. And so, yeah, I think we tend to hold our kids to a much tougher environment or expectation to make sure that they earn their keep, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and I'm sure you were earning your keep. It sounds like you took those that opportunity seriously. What was some of the thought process, though, for leaving the family business and trying, was that a long, kind of drawn out process of thinking through pros and cons of that, or trying to think, okay, I've decided, now how do I bring it up? It's different than quitting
Yeah.
just a quote unquote regular job.
It absolutely is. Yeah, I think for me, the desire for my own unique voice and independence was certainly that was innate from a very long time. But there's a fear factor of whether or not you can really do it that I think resonates with many entrepreneurs. Can I really do this? Do I really have something to offer the world?
Mhm.
So for me, it was covered in prayer. It was covered in a lot of stress. There was a lot of other factors going on about the timing of my leaving the business. Simultaneous to working in the family business, I was also given the opportunity to run my own marketing company
Mm.
underneath the umbrella of the family businesses. And that is actually the catalyst that allowed me to leave. That company I grew it and scaled it in 5 years and sold it to private equity. And
Mm.
condition of sale was that I went with it.
Okay. So that was your exit strategy, not exiting that business, but exiting, being under the wings of the family.
Yep.
But
Yep.
so not a mistake there. There was no
No.
concern about that being a mistake, it seems.
It was painful. There
Mm.
was certainly a lot of separation, a lot of gnashing of teeth and crying and all that after you've spent, I think I had been there probably 15 years at the time I finally left. Plus,
Mhm.
you're not counting your childhood days of when you're answering the phone and filing at the grand old age of 8, and all those things and the family businesses in the house. But no, I think that was the first step for me of really gaining the confidence and the autonomy that I needed to launch my own career.
Yeah. And just one other question out of curiosity. You mentioned siblings. Is there is it a matter of like the oldest is the oldest sort of dubbed the one who must take it over and continue it through and lead it into the fourth generation, or does somebody step up and say, hey, this is the life for me?
Kind of like the Godfather movies. Yeah. No, my oldest stepbrother is actually not involved in the family business. We all grew up working in the family business at one point in time or another.
Yeah.
My younger of the two stepbrothers is still involved and runs a division of the family business. And so I think it really does come down to what they talk about in traction, which is EOS, the entrepreneurial operating system, right person, right seat. Do you want it? Do you have the capacity? And so really, in the end, my personal opinion is whether you are family or not, you need the right person in the right seat to take it over. You may choose to have a family office and a board of directors and, family equity. But for the person to run the businesses, I think that has more to do with skill set than blood.
And I'm guessing those are lessons you learned that you applied to the business now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And hopefully, we talked to a lot of entrepreneurs on this podcast who talk about hiring mistakes of either hiring the wrong person or sticking with somebody way too long. You hope mistakes that happen in a family business like that aren't involving family members. But I'm curious if you have any examples. Hopefully it's not family, because I can only imagine the stress or tension if it's a child or a cousin or a nephew or niece of the owners.
Yes.
But, are there any lessons learned about kind of making good hiring and, if needed, firing decisions?
Oh, many times. Yep. I think our family hired and fired every single family member at one point in time or another. It didn't matter. It was very much a performance driven environment. And it was a sink or swim environment. And yeah, it didn't matter if you were blood or not. Anyone could be fired at that point in time. So, yep, we had situations where cousins were hired and fired. We had situations where siblings were written up for performance evaluations. And I mean, you have to run a family business like any other business if you're going to treat it as an authentic business, right? And not that's the real tough love of entrepreneurship. It is a business.
Yeah. With the added risk that you might still be seeing somebody at Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. Or dinner that night. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So tell us more then about, if you would, Amber, that transition then of spinning off the marketing company, and I'd be curious to hear how that went and how that continues to go as being outside of the family umbrella.
Yeah, that was a beautiful process, Mark. It was very educational. It was scary. I was interviewed along with several other candidates to take over the national presidency of the new brand, and ended up taking on that job and being in that role for about 3 years, and really got to experience private equity and national marketing in a way that was wonderfully educational, very different from a mom and pop local business. So having come up through the ranks operationally, literally answering the phones at the age of 8, running a call center, being involved in the operations of a business, then working in marketing, and then working in private equity, I was able to really take a holistic look at a business on a local or a national level then, and parlay that into marketing insights that we still do for our clients today. So at the end of my stint in private equity, when the non-compete expired, that's when I relaunched my brand and wrote my international best-selling book, and really tried to apply the 25 plus years of experience in both local business and national business into a book and a system to help business owners thrive in their marketing today.
Yeah. And so I think with the name of the company, let's just clarify that's a new company. That's
about 4 years old.
Or is it a rebranding of the same company?
It's a rebranding of the same company.
Okay, 4 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. The name of the company and the name of your book, I think there's a lot to unpack right there. So when you talk about far beyond marketing, like that, what does that phrase mean for you and for your clients?
Yeah. And for my team, we really want to be so much more than just a marketing
Mm-hmm.
firm. We want to be servant leaders and guides. We want to help our clients win. After a stint in private equity, I wanted to make doing business easy for our clients. And we really want to go far beyond just marketing. We want to be trusted advisors. We want to create custom programs and plans that alleviate the stress of marketing on behalf of our clients so that their businesses grow while they sleep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And servant leadership, I think, is such an important thing for a company of any size. I'd love to hear your thoughts on being a servant leader and what that means in terms of helping people learn and grow from mistakes that they might make.
Yeah. Well, we tell our clients what not to do as much as we tell them what to do. When it comes to marketing, they may come to us and they may say, "Hey, we want paid
Yeah.
ads," and candidly, we're going, "You don't need paid ads. Your website sucks. We're not going to run paid ads because that's just going to be a waste of money for you." So really, being a servant leader is being a partner. It is going above and beyond. It's answering the phone. Our phone number is text enabled. Our entire team gets the text message when a client needs something. So I think it's being available. I think it's being a partner. It's being transparent. It's empowering them with the data that they need to make the right decision for their business and recognizing that you're not the one in the driver's seat. You're the guide helping them to win.
So part of what you're saying is don't spend money pointing more people to a website that sucks.
Yeah, let's not do that. Let's fix the website first.
Yeah. But within the company, I'm curious if you have any stories about as a leader helping people recover from a mistake or figure out how to best learn from a mistake, so maybe it doesn't get repeated by that person or by others.
Sure. Yeah. A lot of our clients have handed over control of their marketing assets and collateral to agencies and they can't get it back. So one mistake would be when they build a website and someone else controls the website, the back end of the website, they can't make changes to it. They can't do anything with it. So then we're having to help them wrestle to have an asset that they paid for that legally belongs to them. You've got other clients who have paid thousands of dollars a month in search engine optimization or paid ads and never got a single lead from it. So, again, it's looking at the whole sales funnel. It's looking at the components of marketing that exist. And it's really getting in there and diagnosing what needs to be fixed and tested so that they can have the success that they want. And how do they define success? Because if they define success as more brand awareness, that's great. But if we're defining success as brand awareness and they're defining success as more clients, well, then we're not on the same page. So I think helping them to avoid the miscommunication and the assumptions that are frequently made when hiring a marketing company is a big part of what we do.
Yeah. And assumptions are certainly a big cause of mistakes. If we step back and ask why a mistake happened. So I'd love to dig a little bit more into the book. And so it sounds like from what you're saying, or let me ask to clarify the subtitle of the book. So the book is the Far Beyond Marketing Guidebook by Amber Gaige. The subtitle is Stop Being Duped by Bad Marketing. So is that stop being duped being directed at companies that are being duped by marketing firms, as opposed to somebody like me who might be duped by the marketing that a company is doing to me? Is it both?
I think it could be both. I think there are companies out there that have great intention, but unfortunately don't align with their client goals. And so that's bad marketing. I think there's the temptation of doing marketing tactics like just social media or just paid ads or just print. And they don't think about the strategy. That's bad marketing if it doesn't produce the leads and the results that you want. Stop being duped into thinking that your marketing is going to work in one-off situations for whatever reason, whether you're partnered with the wrong firm or whether you're doing it on your own and not thinking through it from a strategic advantage point. Any of those could be defined as bad marketing.
Yeah. And that's different than what we might consider intentionally misleading marketing. You're talking about more of just
Sure.
like well-intended,
Yeah.
honest mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think we should always assume positive intent.
Sure. It might be a mistake to assume that, is this company intentionally duping me, or are they just not performing? It can be hard to tell.
Right. Or do they just not understand my business? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Are they just not taking the time or have the capability to dive in and understand the nuances of what I'm trying to accomplish as a business owner? That's why we love to work with entrepreneurs. Every business is different. Every entrepreneur has a different goal. So how do
Yeah.
we partner with the entrepreneur to help them meet their goals? Are they trying to get ready for an acquisition? If they are, we better work on standardization
Mm-hmm.
because that's going to be important to anyone that buys the company. Are they trying to add more calls to their board? Then we better focus on call to action. So again, it's digging in, partnering up with your client to make sure that their goals are being obtained.
Yeah. What are some of the other, you've touched on a number of mistakes that companies might make when trying to select a marketing firm to help them, or even if they're coming up with a marketing strategy internally. Are there any new mistakes that as you talk about things changing over time from yellow pages to internet, newer technologies? I imagine people come up with opportunities to make new mistakes that other people haven't made before. What are some of the new
Don't we
ones?
all? Don't we all? I think being afraid of AI is a new mistake.
Yeah.
AI is here to stay. Get used to it. I think
Mm,
the idea of using
mm,
AI for the
hmm
benefit and the higher efficiencies that exist today, not as a substitution for human strategic insight, but utilizing it and harnessing it so
hmm
that we can be better at what we do. That's a mistake for sure. Don't be afraid of it. Embrace new
hmm
technology.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear some thoughts around like what to do with AI, and then back to your earlier point, what not to do with AI. Are there things people suggest where you say, well, maybe that's not the best use of AI?
Yeah. Well, I think if we're utilizing AI purely for blog content, I think you're going to get flagged by that. We're seeing
Yeah.
that in Google algorithms. So always have a
Mm,
human double check the blog content. I've even seen some AI instances that came up with false answers
hmm
and then admitted to it. So always fact
mm,
check when you're using AI to make sure that you're actually getting the real information. That's a big component to it.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So don't rely on, don't think you're going to fill dozens or hundreds of blog pages strictly using AI. I
Right.
mean, how much of that is a matter of, like you said, the fact checking or making sure that the AI is not hallucinating versus just being flagged as an AI writing style? Like any of us who've played around with AI have learned, like, Chat GPT loves to say, we're going to delve into such and such, or there's certain
Yeah.
phrases that seem AI, even though it's been trained by human writing.
Right.
Is Google trying to detect if are you getting penalized if something is detected as being AI generated?
Yeah, I think we are seeing evidence of that in the algorithms. In fact, there were some articles that came out recently that Google is detecting straight AI content and flagging it. You bet. Mm-hmm.
Which is funny because one part of Google's business is like actively, you have Google Docs, and one
Right.
part of it is saying like, hey, let me help you write something. And then another part of the business is punishing for
Yeah.
that. That's an interesting dynamic there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've had other guests, and I think this is my own experience. Is AI can be helpful, but it's like an intern; it can't go unsupervised.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah, like a really
Great
smart,
analogy.
eager, well-intended intern, but still requires that human oversight, or even that
Yeah.
that clear direction of what to work on and how.
I mean, hey, I'm all for Rosie the robot. When they get a robot that's going to clean my house, cook breakfast, and do all that, I'll welcome her with open arms. But I just don't think we're there yet.
Yeah. This is not exactly Rosie the robot, but this morning my dental hygienist was telling me a story about how she was woken up in the middle of the night by her Roomba that had
Oh.
apparently stopped doing the Roomba thing earlier, and she went to bed, and Roomba went to bed and charged itself, and decided that 1 a.m. was a good time to go out and continue the robotic sweeping.
Oh, how nice of it. That was very thoughtful. CAI is just not,
Yeah.
it's not a good roommate. Not a good roommate.
Yeah, and that Roomba is probably not AI. That's probably just kind of plain old dumb intelligence.
Right.
It did its Roomba thing, but yeah.
Did its Roomba thing. That's
Yeah.
great. I love that.
Yeah. So I would love to hear more about the book, the Far Beyond Marketing Guidebook. And does that give you insights at all around other business owners using a book in different ways that would hopefully benefit their business beyond selling books?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think anytime you have a book, then it positions you as an authority in your industry. So writing a book is a great way to expand your audience. It's also a great way of empowering people who may not be in a position to work with you directly, but you still want to share the opportunity with them. I mean, I'm an avid audio book. I've always got an earbud in. I'm always listening to some kind of book. I'm a lifelong learner. So I love books as it is. But writing the book really was
Yeah.
intended to be an empowerment tool for busy entrepreneurs who really shouldn't have to get an MBA in marketing to make good, smart decisions about what it was going to take to grow their business. There's the formula. The 4 C's of effective marketing work together and flow together. If you put them together, your marketing improves.
Mm-hmm. So I was going to ask you about that. So thank you for the segue. What are the 4 C's of effective marketing?
Sure. The 4 C's of effective marketing are as follows. The first C is clear copy. Know how to talk about your business in a way that people will shut up and listen. I love Donald Miller. I love story branding your business. It took my career to a whole new level when I got certified in Don Miller's program. I think every business has a story, and every client should be the hero. So if you will take time to story brand your business, then you will stand out from the competition in your industry. The second C of effective marketing is consistent branding. Make sure that your branding is appearing where it needs to appear consistently. Make sure you're sticking to a set of guidelines of fonts and colors. Make sure that you're putting that branding out in front of people who can find you and know you when they need you. The third C is customer demographic. Who is your target audience? And newsflash, it's probably not the people that you think it is. A target audience is more than just male, female, zip code, household income. It's a psychographic. It's a motivational factor. It is other things that are drawing them to do business with you. And by the way, the ideal customer demographic is the person that's paying you money. So let's start there. Let's not try and target the whole world. Let's get a niche audience of people who are actually buying from you and create our calls to action to be appealing to them, and then broaden. And then the last C of effective marketing is, is channel management. We want to make sure that we have a rinse and repeat process so that we are upselling our current clients, keeping them with us, and not having to go out, turn them and burn them, and constantly look for new clients.
Yeah, yeah. And within those, there are probably mistakes that companies or entrepreneurs make. Like in particular, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts where people confuse logo with branding. I imagine with your marketing expertise, brand represents so much more. I don't know if you could tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, your brand is how it makes people feel when they encounter your business. The brand is the voice, it's the visual, it's the emotion, the evocative emotion that makes people want to do business with you. Your logo should be a standalone mark that represents clearly what you do and who you are. Your logo should not require any kind of definition or explanation. It should stand on its own.
I think we had a little bit of internet cut out there. I'm going to just mark and edit about that point there. So, but I think I'll go ahead and steer us into wrapping up. So I apologize for whatever. All right. Well, Amber, thank you for sharing. About your journey. The mistake of getting into the family business, but making the most of it. It seems we always love. I think that's part of what makes something a favorite mistake is having a good outcome, even if there was frustration or it sounded like a little bit of pain along the way. It didn't kill you; it made you stronger.
Yep, for sure. And I think that's the point of mistakes, right? Is that we learn from them, we grow. Hopefully we don't repeat them too many times, and we let it be a part of our story.
Well, it's a perfect summary of what the podcast is about, and thank you, Amber, for also telling us about what you've been doing out on your own with the business Far Beyond Marketing. So I'll encourage people to go check out Amber's website, farbeyondmarketing.com, and I'll make sure there's links in the show notes to the book and to so much more. So Amber, this has been great. Thank you. Thank you for being a guest today.
I really appreciate you having me on, Mark. You take care.
You too.